Amid the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp defamation trial in Fairfax, Virginia, there has been a lot of social media speculation, ranging from who the real victim in this case is to now rumors that Johnny Depp is dating one of his own attorneys. Sources close to the attorney Camille Vasquez told TMZ that the speculation going on between her and Johnny Depp is nothing more than fan fiction from social media, which has only intensified with people using TikTok. For example, one person who posted a clip of Camille smirking at Johnny has been liked by over 617,000 people. Even the comments are shipping this fabricated relationship. I mean, look at these comments. She left his bed an hour ago, hope she's single and they get married and live happily ever after. I mean, these people are just living in a fantasy world. The wild thing is that most of the people on TikTok haven't even watched the trial. They are just seeing that it's trending and grabbing a clip and posting something, really anything to get into that trend. The fact of the matter is, Johnny and Camille are going to look quite comfortable around each other because they've been working on this case for years now. All of his attorneys are going to know him on a personal level because they have this unique professional relationship that benefits them both. As for all these smiles and giggling that people are pointing out, Camille can find him funny and not be in a romantic relationship with him. More importantly, sources told TMZ that Camille is happily taken. She's dating some British fellow who works in real estate, and the pair have been in a serious relationship now for a while. Also, if you saw Johnny Depp every single day, you would be charmed by him as well. I mean, look at all the people on the internet that he has never personally met that are so taken aback by him. Anyone can clip a specific moment and draw all kinds of conclusions, but until something is verified from the source, it's nothing more than tabloid speculation. Others believe there is a conspiracy at work here though. One person wrote, "This is all intentional. Public perception is everything. Would a woman who believes Johnny is an be that friendly to him?" With another adding, "He's trying to get a discount on his lawyer fees." And Depp's legal team is definitely going to have their work cut out for them when it comes time for the cross-examination of Amber Heard. Amber Heard is already having a tough go of it while we've been on this break. Recently, a hacker managed to change her name on IMDb to Amber Turd. And over the weekend, someone pulled a digital prank on the actress and they were briefly successful. As for TMZ, who was one of the first people to report on this, they said that it also showed up as the top Google search result at the time. Even the top of her bio was altered as well, but those who clicked on the link would be redirected to the correct information. TMZ posted the screenshots of the name prank at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then posted an update saying that it had been corrected at 8:22 p.m. A Twitter user also shared the screenshot and said, "Amber Heard's IMDb page name changed to Turd amid Johnny Depp trial." As you can imagine, social media had a field day with this digital prank, especially given the allegation that Amber Heard had intentionally defecated in Depp's bed during their marriage. Johnny Depp's security guard, though, testified that Amber Heard actually admitted to putting the feces in her shared bed with Mr. Depp after an explosive fight that they had, which would refute the earlier statements by Amber that it was one of their dogs that had defecated in the bed, or the other claim that it was one of her friends that did this as a prank. Mr. Jenkins claimed Amber took responsibility for the poop in the bed during a conversation that he had with her, and then added that she referred to the incident as a horrible practical joke. A new TikTok trend mocking Amber Heard is going viral, and outlets like Rolling Stone are not happy about it. I'm also seeing reports from them as well as Variety magazine that warn about the issues this could cause for future victims of domestic violence. Although my question is, wouldn't that have more to do with Amber Heard? Especially if we discover during the cross-examination by Johnny Depp's legal team that she fabricated her stories. They would then have to change that title to Amber Heard creates problems for future victims of domestic violence. Somehow though, it's easier to just blame TikTok. An audio clip from Amber's testimony is being used as a voiceover by a lot of people on the platform. In the clip, Amber says, "I was walking out of the bedroom, he slapped me across the face, and I turned to look at him, and I said, 'Johnny, you hit me. You just hit me.'" In a video posted by an account with 900,000 followers called Hey It's Ginger and Pepper, they used Amber's emotional testimony and reenacted it with an adorable marmalade cat in a blonde wig, who then makes another appearance as Johnny Depp while donning a black wig and a pirate's bandana. In the opening scene, the cat dressed as Amber is being lightly slapped by a finger with a rubber hand on it. So far as of writing this, the clip has been viewed over 16 million times and liked by 2.6 million people. Now, typically the Gen Z audience of TikTok is uniquely active whenever it comes to things like social justice, with a lot of the most popular content on the platform having a focus on issues like domestic violence prevention and trauma. However, the comments on this video are for the most part very lighthearted. One comment that was liked by over 12,000 people says, "This couldn't be any more creative, love it. They are better actors than Miss Amber." Bizarrely, there was also a comment from a verified Johnny Depp account who just said, "So cute." The real problem that Rolling Stone is having with this seemingly innocuous TikTok trend is that the sound has been used in nearly 15,000 10,000 videos, adding that the top videos under the sound, many of which have more than 10 million views, all seem to be literal reenactments of the attack that Amber described in her testimony. In another top video using the sound, a man dressed as Depp's character in Pirates of the Caribbean pretends to slap a woman dressed in Heard's courtroom attire. That video has 5 million views. Others are using the sound though to dispute Amber's story. There were several accounts that point out the inconsistencies with her testimony. More specifically, the claim that she turned to look at Depp after he allegedly had hit her. One person wrote, "Don't you have to be looking at someone in the face to be able to slap them across it?" And the argument here is that too many people are making light of what should be a very serious situation. If it wasn't Amber Heard, you would just have a bunch of people mocking a survivor of domestic violence. Rolling Stone even reached out to TikTok for a comment on the matter, and in response they said that they removed the videos that Rolling Stone sent them on the grounds that it violated the platform's anti-bullying and harassment policy, which prohibits content that disparages victims of violent tragedies. Although they still had a problem with the cat video being left up and claimed that there are still 14,800 videos that have been posted using the sound. According to Maureen Curtis, the Vice President of Criminal Justice Programs at the victim assistance organization Safe Horizon, she said that the trend is totally demoralizing and demeaning to all survivors, to all people, to everybody who believes all survivors should be treated compassionately and fairly. To put that on TikTok in a joking way is insulting. That being said, I don't think that the memes are going to stop anytime soon. Even if some find this to be disturbing, the internet is for the most part Team Johnny Depp, and so the messaging in memes and TikToks is going to reflect this. Maureen goes on to say in this interview with Rolling Stone, "When you have a celebrity, particularly one who's as well liked as Johnny Depp, accused of violence, it makes it harder for a survivor to want to come forward and to be believed. People don't want to believe a well-liked man could do things like this." If you've been following the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, then you've probably witnessed a few of the photos that Amber had taken of Depp while he was passed out. Many people question why someone would do this, and during Amber's testimony, we got our answer. Amber told the jury in court on Thursday that she began taking photos like this because he wouldn't believe or would deny how out of control his substance use was, and that it would therefore be her word against his team's. She claimed that she began noticing a pattern of behavior changes that would significantly complicate life depending on what he was using. She went on to say, "I only could tell what he was using because I would have to look for clues. He'd pass out and get sick and lose control of himself, and then people would pick him up and clean him up and fix it, and he wouldn't either remember, or he would deny it, or he would accuse me of saying that this had happened when it didn't, and there was no one to back me up. It was just him, his employees, and everyone who had been taking care of him versus my word, and so I started to take pictures to say, look, this is happening." She then proceeded to admit that she began taking these sorts of photos of Depp around the 2-year mark of their relationship, and often had to look for clues that he had been using again. She goes on to say, "I started to pick up on the clues so I could figure out what I was dealing with. I understood enough about addiction to know you have to hit rock bottom, have some consequences to get better. At the time, I was already sensitive. I'd been in the relationship for over a year. I'd already noticed there was this pattern of behavior changes that would make my life significantly more complicated or peaceful or difficult or wonderful, depending on what he was using." Amber also claimed that on top of Depp not remembering any of his behavior, he would also deny that it even happened. In the multiple images shown to the courtroom, Depp could be seen sleeping in chairs and on the floor during his intoxicated states. Another photo showed him passed out with his head in a bookshelf as he slept on the floor beside a bed in their Tokyo hotel. At the time, they were traveling on a press tour, and Depp's children were also in attendance. Amber also claimed that he screamed at her while his kids were in the other room and would often say that she was nagging him. There was also another photo shown of Depp passed out in 2013. Heard had taken the photo and said that she began taking photos again to say, look, this is happening. According to her, one of the photos was taken after a bender of his. She went on to say, "He was, on a binge where I saw him not eating, getting little to no sleep, and he would just use and drink all day long. That would go for a period of time and then a major blow up, and then he'd get sick and pass out and then feel really awful, and often including this time would start a period of sobriety after that." Another photo of Depp showed him reportedly passed out in a lawn chair, which was allegedly taken shortly after he had been sober for a bit. Amber went on to say that the couple also had disagreements about his daughter. She said that after falling in love with Depp's children, she became very protective of them. Heard even detailed that a then 14-year-old Lily had developed a crush on an 18-year-old boy and didn't want him spending the night. She went on to say, "I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned, and naturally they're not my children, and I understand that, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But she was so young, I just felt protective. perspective. Amber Heard began her testimony during the defamation trial of Johnny Depp, and in doing so, a lot of people were speculating that she may have stolen some of her testimony from movie quotes. Olivia covered a full top 10 on this if you want to check that one out, just to see all of the different rumored examples, but today we're just going to be focusing on the story of it all. You see, Twitter is convinced that Amber Heard had quoted multiple movies during her testimony. In a Twitter thread posted on May 5th, 2022, the Twitter user claimed that Heard had stolen from film, television, and books for her defense. A Twitter user posted these screenshots of the comparison and said, "If you were watching Amber Heard and felt like some of those lines felt strangely familiar, they are. She's stealing from film and TV and books. Here's a thread of what I've seen so far." And so far, the tweet has been retweeted more than 4,000 times and liked by over 14,000 people. Among the evidence she presented, the Twitter user claimed that the quote from the actress of Drinks Lots of Tea was stolen by Julia Roberts' character in Notting Hill. In another part of her testimony, she said that he'd rather cut off his hand, which she claimed was directly lifted from the drama series Mildred Pierce. Perhaps the one that took off the most, though, was the screenshot within the thread where the user claimed that Amber's opening monologue in her testimony is the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley. In that post, another user claims, "Her entire beginning monologue is literally the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley, actual quotes from the movie, and featured a character who showered gifts that mysteriously disappeared." They then go on to quote and say, "The thing with Johnny, it's like the sun shines on you, and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much." However, according to Snopes.com, who are infamous for debunking things, they are stating that this claim was shared without evidence. In the review, they stated, "The claim that Heard repeated these lines from The Talented Mr. Ripley was presented on social media with no evidence. Those asserting it did not share a video of Heard making the alleged statement, nor did they link to any news articles containing this quote or a transcript from the trial that would substantiate the accusation. The former fact was especially suspicious since video of this trial was publicly available," adding, "Heard did not make an opening statement. The above displayed meme says that the quote came from Heard's opening statement, and this is an odd claim. However, in that it was Heard's lawyer, not Heard herself, who made an opening statement on her behalf." They also provided several video links and timestamps to Amber's time on the stand to back up this claim. She took to the stand on May 4th, but she didn't make any sort of opening statement. When she took the stand, she was asked some basic questions, mainly her name, age, and etc. But she did not provide an elaborate opening statement like these Twitter users are trying to suggest. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Amber, I'm just saying that if we want Depp to win this thing, we can't have it happen by way of false information. When you give into sharing misinformation, you are no better than how Amber defamed Johnny Depp. And as we all know, two wrongs don't make a right. Now that just leaves all of the other countless examples that people pulled up to try and sow doubt over Amber's testimony, but let me tell you something, you don't need to find movie quotes to sow doubt in her testimony. She's doing that all by herself. Again, according to Snopes, the allegedly stolen movie quotes are largely based on brief, cherry-picked moments in which Heard uses generic language that also happens to have turned up in movies. Look, we all want Johnny Depp to win this trial, so when we see things like this movie quote business, we all jump on it. However, you must remember that confirmation bias is very real. And if you don't know what that is, allow me to explain. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. People display this bias when they select information that supports their views, ignoring contrary information, or when they interpret ambiguous evidence as supporting their existing attitudes. The effect is strongest for desired outcomes, for emotionally charged issues like this one, and for deeply entrenched beliefs. Confirmation bias cannot be eliminated entirely, but it can be managed, for example, by the way of education and training critical thinking skills. Amber Heard's body language while giving her testimony during the Johnny Depp defamation trial was analyzed by a body language expert, and according to them, it exposes a lot. According to the expert, her body language betrayed her conflicting emotions as she took to the stand for the first time in this trial. The actress was at last given a chance to counter what her ex-husband had claimed, mainly that he was in fact the victim of Amber's attacks and not the other way around. Amber wept as she told the Fairfax, Virginia courthouse that she was repeatedly struck by Mr. Depp, who was often jealous and even performed a cavity search on her to find intoxicants that he believed she was hiding from him. Body language expert Judy James told Mail Online, "It is difficult to read the emotions from the A-list case, as both of them are actors who know how to play a captivated worldwide audience. The defendants will likely have been trained by their legal team in advance of their testimonies, but slight movements or expressions can give away their true feelings while not fully revealing their guilt or innocence." At first, Amber seemed to deliberately address the questions with a smile on her face in an attempt to humanize her and create an emotional bond with the jury. However, jury during the more graphic parts of her testimony, the actress pushed out the emotion and often appeared to sob and scrunch up her nose without actually crying. Her hand gestures also seem to be congruous with her words, often used for expression before her words, which according to Judy is usually a sign of authenticity. Judy went on to say, Amber's direction of gaze and speech when she first takes a stand is important. It is quite common for people to address their answers to the jury in the US, but Amber seems to create personal connections and tie signs quickly here, beginning by smiling in the direction of the judge before turning her head towards the jury to offer her answers to questions from the legal team. She went on to say, her hair is also draped to her left, meaning that the jury have a clear view of her face both in silhouette and as she turns to address them directly. The effect would be to humanize herself to the jury rather than isolating herself as a celebrity who they will presumably have been hearing negative comments about. It shows them a certain amount of respect to them to want to address them directly, as it shows a consideration of them as being in ultimate control in terms of the verdict. It helps to build some early connections. Judy also mentioned that the jury gets to see her eyes this way, and that the eyes tend to be considered one of the most revealing body parts in terms of inner feelings and emotions. She continues and says, we tend to trust people more when we can see their eye expression, so this gesture could suggest she has nothing to hide. It is of course in visual contrast to her ex-husband at the same time, who sits hunched with his eyes hidden by tinted glasses, gazing down and writing or just communicating with his team. A lot of people though accused Amber after that first day of testifying for faking tears or perhaps pretending to cry as she recounted the allegations against Depp. She said to the court that in May of 2013, she and Depp were on vacation at a trailer park in Hicksville, California near Joshua Tree, which is where he performed the cavity search on her and accused her of flirting with another woman. Amber also testified as to the first time that she alleged Depp had struck her when she asked about one of his tattoos. She then became visibly emotional during these moments, but some pointed out that you couldn't see any tears rolling down her face, even though she was forcing out this emotion. Instead of crying, she crumpled her chin and tearlessly sobbed during the testimony to highlight how this made her emotional. Judy James goes on to say, the cameras made it hard to pick out if they had formed in her eyes or if her eyes had reddened. This, like everything, is a complicated point. When guilty people perform tears, they often try to hide their dry eyes, poking them with fingers, squeezing them shut tight, or prodding them with a hanky. When they do cry for real, the streaming tears are often prompted by self-pity. Amber seemed to be truncated, but it's that acting or bad acting or the innocent complex response of someone with mixed emotions. She then added, Amber's facial expressions became more animated when she spoke about abuse. She spoke in detail and her expressions seemed to range from shock and bewilderment to disgust and anger. She kept her head held up and any suggestion of tears came from a change in her vocal tone and a chin crumple. Amber Heard took to the stand the other day to begin her testimony as her ex-husband Johnny Depp sues her for defamation in Fairfax, Virginia. During this testimony, she recounted a story that once made headlines back in July of 2020. Amber claimed that Johnny Depp had dangled one of her dogs out of a moving car window while he was howling like an animal. She claimed that the incident took place in March of 2013 after Depp had consumed copious amounts of, let's call it white powder for lack of a better term that YouTube won't let me say. On top of that, she alleged that he had been consuming lots of hard liquor through the night as well and was repeatedly accusing her of infidelity. During her testimony, Ms. Heard said, he grabs this teacup Yorkie and holds Boo out of the window of the moving car, and he's howling like an animal while holding the dog out of the window, and everyone in the car, I'll never forget it, everyone just froze. No one did anything. She then spoke about how when this was happening, they were on their way to a photo shoot that Depp was already late for. She also mentioned how people from the shoot were constantly texting her asking where he was, but when they arrived, everyone seemed to be faking a smile and pretending like they weren't bothered by his tardiness. She went on to testify that Depp had a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde dynamic where he would be sweet while he was sober and then launch into binges of snorting powder and drinking liquor, which would then make him more controlling and violent. Over time, Amber said that he became increasingly paranoid and would falsely accuse her of infidelity with her friends and former partner. The evening before the incident where he allegedly held Boo out of the window, he apparently also tried to burn a painting that one of Amber's former partners made for her. She went on to say, he decided that the painting was an offense he could not forgive me for. It meant I was having an affair with my ex-partner, who I already split from. However, Depp failed to actually burn the painting. Amber goes on to explain. He takes it down and tries to burn it with one of those Bic lighters, but he wasn't successful at it while he was drinking. And despite not being able to destroy the painting, Heard also alleged that he had continued to push her to discard the painting and admit to the affair. Getting into more detail about what happened to her dog Boo though, she said that the photo shoot was the next day after all the cheating allegations and the attempt to burn the painting. On their way to the photo shoot, Amber was in the car with Depp and other members of his team. Amber claimed that Depp was smoking with the windows rolled down and goes on to say, he started howling out of the window and he grabbed their two small teacup Yorkies and held Boo, the slightly chunkier dog, out the window. I didn't want to react to cause him to drop the dog. It was just this eerie moment where he's howling and holding this animal outside the car window. She claimed that the members of Depp's team didn't even react to this, but she believed that they were also stressed out by his actions. She went on to say, "I have a memory of everyone just not really reacting to him. No one really did anything." And eventually Amber said that she gently pulled Johnny Depp's arm back into the vehicle as they arrived for the shoot, and at the time Heard testified that Boo did belong to Depp, but that she later got custody of both of their small Yorkies when they split up.